A single road split into two colors before the eyes of an entire village, and no one could explain why. One side of the traveler's cap was red as fresh blood. The other side was black as a closed grave. The man who wore it walked calmly through the marketplace at midday, and by nightfall, two lifelong friends were trying to kill each other in the dust. This is what happens when Eshu walks among mortals. He is not evil, he is not kind. He is the crossroads itself, given breath and legs, and a walking staff carved with cowrie shells that click like teeth when he moves. Smoke seems to follow 2 steps behind him, even on a windless day, curling low around his ankles as though the earth itself cannot decide whether to hold him or release him. He is the messenger who carries prayers up to the sky and carries consequences back down. He decides, more often than any king or warrior wants to admit, whether a life bends toward fortune or ruin. Villagers who have lived long enough to remember his visits say his laughter arrives before his footsteps do, a low sound like dry gourds rattling in the wind, and that by the time you hear it, whatever he came to set in motion has already begun. And in the old days, in a kingdom whose name has been worn smooth by centuries, Eshu decided to teach that kingdom a lesson it would never forget. There were 2 farmers, Alapa and Ojo, who had shared everything since childhood. They planted the same fields on opposite sides of a single dirt path. They drank from the same gourd, slept beneath the same thatched roof during the harvest rains, and carried each other's sick mothers to the river when fever came. They swore, in the way young men swear before they understand what oaths cost, that nothing would ever come between them. Not land, not woman, not wealth, not even the gods themselves. Neither man made offerings at the Crossroads shrine outside the village. Neither man poured palm oil for Eshu, or left kola nuts at the fork in the road where his stone rested, cracked and forgotten beneath creeping vines, its carved face worn nearly smooth by rain and neglect. Elders had warned them as boys, the way elders warn every generation, that the fork belonged to Eshu, and that a traveler who did not honor it walked the road at his own risk. The 2 friends had laughed at the warning even then, certain their bond was stronger than any old superstition whispered under the Iroko tree. They believed friendship alone was protection enough against any spirit. Eshu heard this belief travel through the wind, and he smiled the smile of someone who has been ignored one time too many. He appeared on the road between their 2 farms, wearing his split cap, red on the side facing Alapa's field, black on the side facing Ogojo's field. He walked slowly, deliberately, letting the sun catch each color as he passed, his cowrie staff tapping the packed earth in a steady, unhurried rhythm. That evening, Alapa spoke of the stranger in red who had crossed his land. Ojo spoke of the stranger in black who had crossed his. Each man insisted he had seen the truth. Each man called the other a liar in front of the elders who had gathered beneath the great Iroko tree to settle the dispute. Voices rose. Old wounds that friendship had buried came clawing back up into the light. Small resentments over land boundaries and unequal harvests that neither man had spoken aloud in 20 years, suddenly spilling out in the firelight. Accusations neither man meant became accusations neither man could take back. Someone in the crowd, uncertain which way to lean, made the mistake of taking a side, and within moments, the entire gathering had split down an invisible line, half shouting for Alapa, half shouting for Ogo. The drums that should have called for calm, instead, pounding out a rhythm of rising fury. By the time torches were lit, machetes had been drawn, and the 2 farms that had once shared a single dirt path now shared a single pool of blood, soaking into the dry earth between them. The elders, shaken and afraid, sent for a babalawo, a diviner who could read the signs the ordinary eye could not see. He arrived at dawn, knelt at the Crossroads shrine, and poured a libation onto the very stone the 2 farmers had neglected for years. The wind answered, not with words exactly, but with a presence that pressed down on every chest in the gathering, a weight like a hand resting on the back of the neck. The cowries the babalawo cast onto a woven mat fell in a pattern none of the elders recognized. and the old man's hands trembled as he studied their arrangement in the gray morning light. The Babalawo spoke slowly, translating what only he could hear. He said the traveler both men had seen was one being wearing two faces at once, and that this was Eshu's way of showing mortals a truth they refuse to accept on their own, that no single person ever holds the whole picture, that certainty without humility is the fastest road to ruin, and that a debt owed to the Crossroads does not vanish simply because it is ignored. The villagers wept. Some cursed the trickster's name into the wind. Others fell to their knees at the very shrine they had abandoned, pressing their foreheads to cracked stone, begging forgiveness for a neglect they had never thought would cost them anything. But Eshu was not finished, because a lesson half learned is worse than no lesson at all. He appeared again, this time not in the road, but in the dreams of the village's young king, a proud ruler who believed his throne made him untouchable to spirits that troubled lesser men. In the dream, Eshu wore no cap at all. His face itself was split, red on the right, black on the left, and his voice came from both sides of his mouth at once, saying the same word in two different tones, until the king could no longer tell which tone was truth. The dream showed the king his own palace burning, his own advisors turning against him, his own destiny unraveling thread by thread, because he had built his kingdom on the false comfort of certainty, rather than on respect for the forces that moved beneath the visible world. He saw his throne room filled with smoke, saw the bronze staff of his ancestors melting in fire that gave off no heat, saw his own guards standing at the gates with their spears lowered toward him instead of raised in his defense. Behind it all, the split-faced figure simply watched, neither approving nor condemning, only waiting to see whether the king would understand before the fire finished its work. The king woke, drenched in sweat, his hands shaking, his throat too dry to call for water. He summoned every priest in the kingdom before the sun had fully risen. He ordered shrines rebuilt at every crossroads within his borders, ordered kola nuts and palm oil restored to every neglected stone, ordered his own guards to escort travelers safely past the very fork in the road where two friends had once destroyed each other over a cap of two colors. Only then did the dream release him. This is why, even now, the wise do not walk past a crossroads without pause. This is why elders teach children to greet the fork in the road the way one greets an elder, with respect, with humility, with an offering however small. Because Eshu does not punish out of cruelty. He punishes to reveal what was already fracturing beneath the surface, what pride and neglect had already set in motion long before he ever lifted his walking staff. He is the keeper of Ori, the guardian of the destiny each person carries into the world before birth, sealed and chosen in the presence of the gods, and forgotten the moment the soul crosses into flesh. Eshu remembers what mortals forget. He watches how they treat the small, overlooked places, the fork in the road, the threshold of the home, the space between one choice and the next, because those are the places where destiny quietly turns, long before anyone notices the turning has happened. Some say he does this because he was wronged once, denied his portion of a sacred offering among the other Orishas, and marked forever after as the one who must be remembered first or punished last. Others say he simply is the crossroads, has always been the crossroads, and cannot be anything other than the force that watches which path a person chooses when no one else is looking. Whichever telling you believe, the warning inside it never changes. The road that looks the same on both sides may not be the same road at all. The stranger who passes without a word may already be deciding your fortune, and the shrine you walk by without a second glance may be the very place where your whole destiny quietly waits to be claimed, or quietly waits to be lost. The two farms by the great Iroko tree stand empty to this day. Nothing grows where the blood once soaked the earth, though the crossroads shrine beside it has never again been neglected. Travelers still leave kola nuts there before continuing on their way, still whisper a small prayer to the trickster who controls destiny, still glance twice at any stranger wearing a cap split between two colors. Some myths do not end. They only wait at the fork in the road, patient as stone, for the next traveler who forgets to look both ways. If Eshu's warning found you tonight, Do not walk past it unanswered. Follow the storyteller deeper into the crossroads of African legend, and let the next forgotten god decide what waits for you around the bend.